Hey everybody, Drew Fielder here, managing partner at Back Bay Investment Group. I'm here to talk to you guys today about what's working and what's not working right now in multifamily in California. So, just as a quick intro to this video, we're going to explore what's currently working and what's not currently working in the multifamily real estate market in California. But remember, each market is dynamic and successful investment strategies can vary significantly from one area to another. Our focus as a real estate investment company is Los Angeles County, Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, Orange County, San Diego County, and the Inland Empire, which is Riverside and San Bernardino County. So that's our focus, purely a SoCal market focus, and the dynamics from county to county and from city to city vary um, for obvious reasons. Some cities, things are easier to do things in. Some cities, things are not so easy to do things in. And we're working with cities with different populations, different demographics. And so there's not exactly a rule of thumb for everything, but we are going to talk in generalities of what it really means and what's happening in today's market. So what's not working is buying existing value add properties. So the primary issue here is basically the cap rate delta between interest rates today and where sellers are listing their properties, so seller cap rates are simply too low for what the current interest rates are. And so despite high costs of capital and high interest rates, cap rates remain low. We're kind of working with this funky supply demand situation where we have high interest rates, and as a result, we seem to have less properties available on the market, thus kind of creating this imbalance of having high interest rates yet relatively low cap rates. So that type of situation, when you have high interest rates and low cap rates, it demands significantly more equity to maintain adequate lender debt service coverage ratios. And debt service coverage ratios is simply the ratio of cash flow versus your debt payment. And right now, banks are currently looking for debt service coverage ratios of anywhere between 1.2 to 1.3. A few years ago, that number was lower, but with the increased volatility in the market, lenders have been increasing their debt service coverage ratio requirement. So, with that being said, at those higher debt service coverage ratios, buyers are often needing to put 40 to 60% down as equity to meet those requirements. And as a result, this decreases the return on investment as basically the same income and same cash flow are just now spread over a larger equity base. So that lowers your cash on cash return, that lowers your IRR. And so that's one of the big issues right now. The next thing that's not working is developing for rent properties in lower and middle income areas. What are for rent properties? Those are simply apartment complexes. And really what's driving that is, again, interest rates. Interest rates has made everything more expensive. But also we've had inflation, which has increased construction costs. So construction costs to develop properties now has skyrocketed. And, if we were to put a dollar amount on construction costs to build in California versus out of state, in a lot of cases in California, we're sometimes 50% more expensive to build in California than in other states. So construction costs are high compared to the national average. And I was just looking at this the other day, but if you had a 5-story stick frame building, which is a pretty common construction type here in California, nationally, that product would be about 205 to 225 bucks a square foot. Where in California, it ranges anywhere between 325 to 375 per square foot, depending on what you're building. So significantly higher cost for us, and it just simply doesn't pencil out in your lower income and your middle income areas. Now let's hop over to what's working. So what's working? Let's start with developing for sale properties. What does for sale properties or for sale product mean? It's typically single family houses, townhouses, and condos that are sold instead of rented. So these type of developments work particularly well in high income and middle high income neighborhoods. Again, we covered previously that it's really tough to make things pencil out in these low income and low middle income neighborhoods. Just the rents are just not there compared to what our construction costs and holding costs are as developers. So the residential market in Southern California, it's strong. We've got a huge demand and we've got a glut of supply. As I said earlier, we have about 3.5 million uh, uh, housing units. We're short 3.5 million housing units. So there's just huge demand and not enough supply there. So the spread between sale values and our construction cost remains profitable. So developers are still able to build those right now. And there also seems to be, this elasticity when it comes to, or lack thereof, when it comes to demand for housing in these higher income neighborhoods. So as you can imagine, it kind of makes sense when you are achieving higher incomes and you have higher, you're in these higher income neighborhoods and, middle high income neighborhoods. People have more disposable income, so an increase in interest rates isn't as detrimental as some of your lower and lower middle income neighborhoods. So those higher income consumers seem to be less affected by interest rates and are still out there buying residential property. Now, the next thing that's working is developing for rent properties in high income neighborhoods. So I talked about before, again, low income neighborhoods, low middle income neighborhoods don't pencil out right now. But we have certain markets where these do pencil out, but they are all in high income neighborhoods. So, for example, San Diego has introduced a number of different ordinances that offer generous development standards, increased density, lower development fees, and faster permit issuance. So, San Diego has actually helped developers lower their construction costs despite being in some of these high income neighborhoods where a lot of these developments are happening right now. So we have that going on. And then at the same time, we have state legislature who's making amendments and introducing new laws to facilitate easier housing development. So, we're seeing right now really where you have to be from a rental market perspective in these high income neighborhoods is 450 to $5 a square foot on your rent. And as a result, that typically translates into smaller units, which don't work everywhere, right? If you're out in the Inland Empire, there's so much land available that, people aren't used to living in smaller units. But if you go to certain parts of LA, certain high income neighborhoods in LA and San Diego and Orange County, these neighborhoods have significantly higher rents and are oftentimes at or above that 450 to $5 a square foot range. And when it comes to construction costs, building high luxury end units versus kind of lower or middle of the ground units, while yes, it is more expensive to build those luxury units, it's the delta is rather small, and so you're definitely better off as a developer right now building in these higher income neighborhoods.